Welcome to beautiful, sunny Southern California, everyone. The New York Jets paying a visit to the San Diego Chargers here at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green, Evan Washburn down on the field. It is a warm day, to say the least, with temperatures right now at 91 degrees and rising. I want to remind you today's game being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The Chargers riding a 3-game win streak. The Jets on a 3-game losing streak. San Diego has won the toss and have deferred, which means the Jets will get their hands on the football first. That's Mike McCoy in his second year here in San Diego as the head coach. And deep for the Jets is Salim Hakim. And we are ready to kick things off and get it underway in San Diego. This one is returnable from 3 yards deep in the end zone. And hit hard at the 15-yard line, and he goes down. What a hit put on by number 37, Jaleel Adai. Geno Smith, a lightning rod for actions and reactions in New York, trying to find the groove that'll turn a season and that of the Jets around. 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions among his 7 turnovers in the Jets' 4 games thus far. The Jets start at their 16-yard line. And the give straight ahead is to Chris Ivory for maybe a yard and no more to about the 17. Up front for the Jets at left tackle, D'Brickashaw Ferguson making his 133rd consecutive regular season start since he was drafted 4th overall back in 2006. And with injuries to key wide receivers, number 11, Jeremy Curley, the Jets' leading receiver, becomes even more important today. On 2nd and 9, Smith rolling and throwing and incomplete. David Nelson coming across the field, incomplete, and we have a penalty marker down.
David Nelson, the intended receiver, penalty flag in the backfield.
And those
Personal
of you
foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 96.
who are just joining us here in San Diego, a penalty on Jarrett Johnson roughing Geno Smith. You just saw Cleveland edging the Tennessee Titans 29-28. We're just underway here in San Diego. Greg Gumbel and Trent Green. Trent, that's a hard way to gain some yardage if you're Geno Smith.
That is a tough way. The helmet comes flying off after the hit by Johnson, and with the incomplete pass, that would have left the Jets at 3rd and 8. Now all of a sudden they've got 1st and 10 past the 30-yard line, giving them new life on this drive.
From the 32. Smith clears the backfield. Dancing out of the way of trouble and throws incomplete before he hits the turf. Here's that roughing the passer call on Jarrett Johnson. When it takes your helmet off, that's rough.
Yeah, they're doing a lot to protect quarterbacks, and I know what Johnson's assessment's going to be is I led with the shoulder and I hit him in the body. The problem is as the shoulder hit the body, it came up to the neck area, and the lower part of his helmet knocked it off. So that's what the official sees.
2nd and 10. This is Chris Johnson, and Johnson spinning across the 35 and out to about the 39-yard line. Look at the Chargers 3-4 defense. Number 94, Corey Liuget, suffered a concussion against the Jaguars last week. He's recovered and starts. Plenty of injuries to San Diego linebackers. Jarrett Johnson in with a bad shoulder. And Eric Weddle, the rock in the middle of the San Diego secondary. 3rd and 3. .35 to play early in the first quarter. 3rd and 3 for the Jets. Geno Smith going deep, far sideline, and overthrew his intended receiver, David Nelson.
And on 3rd and short, the Chargers decide to go man-to-man coverage, and David Nelson, there was some question coming into this game whether or not he would be active coming off of an ankle injury a week ago, but he showed enough to the coaches in warm-ups, but that may affect some of the timing we see, especially down the field on the deeper throws.
Eddie Royal is deep for San Diego. Low, wobbly kick, but it takes a Jets bounce inside the 15-yard line and will roll to a stop at the 10. And Philip Rivers will get his first shot with the football here in San Diego when we come back. You're watching the NFL on CBS. .13:09 to play here in the first quarter in San Diego, and the Chargers get their first shot on offense from their own 10-yard line.
Hey, come on, 52. 390. 390.
This is Donald Brown trying the left side and maybe 2 yards at the most. Boy, no quarterback in the league playing better than San Diego's Philip Rivers these days. 9 touchdown passes against 1 interception, completing 70% of his throws over the first 4 games. He's been at 72% or better in each of the last 3. He's really going to have to sharpen things up, Trent.
Well, with the running game the way it's going right now, they're 31st in the National Football League in rushing yards per game. So he has to maintain a hot hand today, especially against the #1 ranked rushing defense.
2nd and 8. Rivers to throw for the first time today. On the outside, that's complete to Brown out of the backfield, and he is bounced out of bounds just across the 15-yard line at the 16 by Antonio Allen. Keeping centers healthy has been a problem here in San Diego. Doug Legursky starts a 2nd straight game in relief of Rich Ornberger, and wide receiver Eddie Royal, the team's leader in touchdowns with 4. 2 TD catches last week against Jacksonville, 2 the week before at Buffalo. 3rd and 4. That's Royal in motion to the far side of the field. Rivers on the outside, complete to Royal. First down. Let's get an update. Our first of the day from New York, JB and Boomer.
Greg, Mr. Incredible. He really is, JB. This is Peyton Manning's 500th career touchdown pass, 7 yards to Julius Thomas, second only to Brett Favre's 508 TD passes. Broncos up 7-3 over the Cardinals.
You know what? Greg Dummer is Mr. Incredible
Yeah,
as
he
well.
is. I work with him too.
Thank you, guys.
90. We're done.
Rivers running out of time, and he goes down, and we've got a penalty marker in the backfield. Sheldon Richardson in on Rivers. Our referee today is Ron Torbert.
Holding. Offense, number 63. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Johnny Troutman, the right guard, guilty of the hold.
And Troutman's the one that's called on the penalty. You see here, right at right guard, and he's going against Sheldon Richardson, and Richardson's actually the one that gets the sack, and they also get the hold against him as well.
Loss of 2.
You can see him holding up his hands afterwards, looking for that holding call. But we had a chance to talk to Sheldon yesterday, and he said he's an excitable young man, isn't he? He's talking. He said he gets a chance to talk to Philip Rivers. They'll be jawing a little bit.
That's not good. You get beat for the sack and get hit with a hold. On the draw, this is Donald Brown, and Brown stacked up at about the 20-yard line. Up front for the Jets, number 91, Richardson. Now 3 of the Jets' league-leading 15 sacks. At linebacker, Demario Davis alongside David Harris, each with 32 tackles to lead the team. And second-year cornerback Dee Milliner, bothered by a high ankle sprain since the preseason. You figure Philip Rivers will test him once in a while. 5 wide receivers for Rivers on 3rd and long. And one of the Jets, Demario Davis, jumped prior to the snap.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
I don't think that was Muhammad Wilkerson.
5-yard penalty is possible at the 25.
Rex Ryan talking to him yesterday. You couldn't tell he's 1-3, could you?
No, he doesn't have any. He's not lacking confidence, I should say. So he felt really good about the defensive game plan they had coming in against Phillip Rivers and this Chargers offense.
3rd and 9 now for Rivers. With time, gonna go deep. This side of the field, and the catch is made inside the 30-yard line by Malcolm Floyd. He beat Darren Walls. And we have a Charger down at about the 43-yard line.
Malcolm Floyd one-on-one with Walls. Walls is not a short corner at 6 foot tall, but Floyd at 6'5" just jumps over the top of him. A little bit of a back shoulder. Phillip Rivers had let him. He'd run down the field. Nice job.
Looked like Keenan Allen got caught in some traffic coming across the field. We'll check on him. That is the beach from which we dragged Trent Green this morning to come to work. Donald Brown. And Donald Brown wrapped up by Muhammad Wilkerson.
Keenan Allen and Kyle Wilson here get tangled up on the previous play. The long pass completion of Malcolm Floyd. It appears Keenan Allen will be okay, but he had to leave the field.
Yeah, he walked off under his own power, taking a sip, but meanwhile he's been replaced on the field by Shea Ajiratutu, the 5th-year receiver out of Fresno State. 2nd and 15. Rivers under pressure. Lets it go this side of the field, complete inside the 20. Once again, Malcolm Floyd, first down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line of the Jets.
And there's Malcolm Floyd matched up one-on-one again with Darren Walls. He gets a stick move at the top and gets Walls to turn his hips. Rivers sees that, puts it to the outside. Nice job by Floyd, spinning to the inside, picking up extra yards.
There's Malcolm Floyd. Meanwhile, Keenan Allen is back on the field, and he is to the top of your screen. First down. Donald Brown again, up the middle, inside the 10 to about the 9. Now this offense of San Diego has had problems running the football. Number 31 in the league coming into this week, but Mike McCoy was very vehement. He said, we are going to run the football. And what was Rex Ryan's response? Well, they can try.
He was like, I hope they do. I hope they try. Same with Sheldon Richardson. He said, I hope they try running. You can see Chargers already have 4 attempts today.
There's another one, Donald Brown straight ahead. Leger Douzable and David Harris closing on the tackle. As we come up on 8 minutes to play here in the first quarter. There is Antonio Gates, who becomes so dangerous anytime, but especially in the red zone.
He's such a huge weapon down there, as you said, in the red zone, and the 3 touchdown catches that he already has on the season. You have to pay special attention to him, as you said, Greg.
Jets have not been good red zone offensively or defensively so far this year. 3rd and 3. Rivers, lobbing one, touchdown. Antonio Gates. How do you leave Antonio Gates that wide open?
Well, and the frustrating thing is after talking to Rex last night, he said they were going to double team Gates in the red zone, and he's not being double teamed right there, and if he is, he just abuses Antonio Allen coming off the line of scrimmage. If Antonio Allen had help to the inside with the back safety, then there's no reason to give up the outside the way that he did.
25 straight games now for Phillip Rivers with at least 1 touchdown pass. The extra point by Nick Novak is good. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers on the board first. They lead at 7-0. Back in San Diego, where Antonio Gates' 8-yard touchdown catch has San Diego on top by 7. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green, and now, just like that, the pressure turns even more so on Jets quarterback Geno Smith, and he's been in the press all week long for, first of all, cussing out a fan after last week's loss, and now whether or not he should be replaced by Michael Vick or not.
Well, Rex Ryan is steadfast in the belief that Geno Smith is his quarterback, and if anything about Rex Ryan, he's loyal. We know how he was with Mark Sanchez, the previous quarterback, and with Geno Smith, I think he exhibits that same loyalty.
And we asked point blank, asked Rex if there is any chance of him being pulled today in favor of Michael Vick, and he said no. Fumbled in the end zone, and he will not run it out. So the Jets will start from their own 20-yard line. Let's check in for the first time today with Evan Washburn. Evan.
Greg, when you start 1-3, everything becomes magnified. So on Monday, when Geno Smith admitted that the offense had a players-only meeting, it raised red flags and added to the growing concern that this offense needed some work. And I asked him why they felt they needed to have that meeting. He said, we planned on having that meeting at the quarter pole no matter our record. It was a time for the players to be accountable, and most of all, reiterate that it comes down to not allowing any outside distraction break that locker room bond.
Thanks, Evan. First down, Jets from their 20, and here's Geno Smith. Flips out to the far side, and that is caught by Greg Salas, and Salas out of bounds, short of a first down at about the 27-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 3. There is Michael Vick on the sideline.
2nd and 3.
And here's career numbers, and we asked Rex, well, what would it take to pull Geno Smith? And he said, it'll be pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be something catastrophic. I think this is Geno Smith's team. I think the loyalty factor plays into it. And I think the fact that last year was just his rookie season, he has to have time to develop, and I don't know if that's necessarily what Jet fans want to hear.
This is Chris Ivory, and Ivory can't shake a tackle, and now he does for the first down at the 30-yard line. Here's Geno's first time around.
Takes a shot from Jarrett Johnson, gets the 15-yard roughing the quarterback. Under pressure, not very accurate up the field. We talked about David Nelson and his ankle injury from a week ago. The timing just wasn't there on the first drive.
So first down for the Jets now out to the 30-yard line. Smith still with the football. Under pressure and had to throw it away. Being chased by Cavell Connor, number 53, who is in the starting lineup in place of the injured Manti Te'o. So it'll be 2nd and 10. And you know, Trent, as you talk to Geno Smith, there's nothing wrong with his demeanor. He's very much in control. He's very confident that he can get this job done.
He seems very confident about the way he's handling things, the way he handles this team. His teammates feel like he is still the leader. He is the quarterback of this team, and there's been no question that he will maintain that, and Michael Vick has to wait.
Chris Ivory to about the 33-yard line. Marcus Gilchrist up from the safety to make the stop. Talked about how all the pressure is on Jeremy Curley. That is because Geno Smith is minus wide receiver Eric Decker, who could not go today with a bad hamstring. David Nelson was a question mark, as you mentioned earlier, with the ankle.
And that has some effect on the quarterback play as well. When you're losing those weapons, when your weapons are banged up because of injury, that has an impact.
And this looks like a false start.
False start. Offense, number 60, 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
That's big DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Not a whole lot of experience in the receiving corps for Geno Smith to work with today, is there?
Well, Jeremy Curley, it's very clear the numbers he has. Nelson coming off the injury. Salas is getting the start instead of Decker, and TJ Graham just joined the team a few weeks ago. So not a very deep receiving corps, and one that doesn't have a lot of timing with Geno Smith.
3rd and 12. Smith stepping up, throws as he was hit, and it's out of bounds. Brandon Flowers in on Geno Smith.
I like the decision by defensive coordinator John Pagano of the Chargers to put pressure on Geno Smith. When you have a struggling quarterback, don't let him get comfortable in the pocket. And we have yet to see Geno stand in the pocket and work through a progression without having to take off and run.
Eddie Royal going to let this one bounce again. And again, it takes a Jets bounce inside the 30 and down to about the 27-yard line. 5:17 to play. First quarter. Chargers with the football and a 7-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aflac, official partner of the Heisman Trophy. And by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
Welcome back to San Diego. Did I mention that it's warm here today? Showing 110 on the field. Rivers running out of time and got rid of it incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. While we have a moment, access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. 110 down on the field. You know, we're trying to do our part, sending ice cubes down to Evan, but for some reason or other, he's not getting them.
Hey!
2nd and 10.
Mike, 5-6. Set. Yeah, green 90. Green hot.
Donald Brown, left side. Stiff arm, first down, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. DeJuan Landry forced him out.
And sometimes being over-aggressive can hurt you. That time coming up on the tackle, and Brown's able to use the stiff arm, get to the outside. 17 yards is Donald Brown's longest run of this season.
390. Green hot.
This is Brown again. And true to his word, Mike McCoy sticking with the ground game and giving it at least a shot. And he was pretty defiant. He said, we will run the football against the Jets.
Well, if you look at the numbers right now, 13 offensive snaps and 7 of the 13 have been running plays. So we thought maybe he was joking around with us. We're like, right, you got Phillip Rivers in the #1 quarterback in the National Football League, and you're telling us you're going to try and run the ball against the #1 defense, and so far today, that's what they're doing.
You saw Ryan Matthews on the sideline. They figure he will be gone at least another 2 or 3 weeks with the bad knee. Rivers, sideline, complete to Keenan Allen, bumped out of bounds, but not before another San Diego first down, pushed out by Darren Walls. Here's Phillip Rivers early on.
His first drive of the football game, he ends up going 5 for 5, and what you'll see from these highlights is he's working his left side of the field, going against Antonio Allen for the touchdown.
And
Still has yet to test that other side.
Right.
Hey, Mike 52.
First down.
390. Green hot.
This is Brandon Oliver, the rookie free agent running back from the University of Buffalo. By the way, that touchdown catch by Antonio Gates was the 91st of his career, and that ties him for number 10 all-time with Isaac Bruce.
That's good company right there. Isaac's eligible for the Hall of Fame this year.
2nd and 8. This is Oliver again. And they go right back at that Jet defense to the 38-yard line. Well, Brady and Gronk, Manning, Dallas Clark, between quarterbacks and tight ends, Drew Bledsoe with 45 of them to Ben Coates. And then you got David Rivers throwing to Antonio Gates. I don't know, would you call that chemistry? Good chemistry? Great chemistry?
The amazing thing is the gap between first and second.
I apologize for saying David Rivers. It meant Phillip Rivers. 3rd and 6. Rivers with time over the middle. And he missed Gates. And Phillip looks like he's taking all the blame for that as he comes off the field.
Mike Cyphers in punt formation.
Rivers, you can tell, as he shakes his hand afterwards, ends up potentially hitting his own guy. Johnny Troutman, the guard, was popping out to help with protection, and maybe got caught up on the follow-through.
Well, he's shaking his right hand for something. Meanwhile, that kick is out of bounds and is spotted at about the 18-yard line. That's where Geno Smith and the New York Jets will get started with 2:11 to play in the first quarter, down 7. Philip Rivers along the sideline, still shaking that right hand a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Geno Smith and the Jets starting things off on the ground. This is Chris Johnson. And Johnson just across the 20-yard line. We looked at that last play during the commercial, Trent, and we saw nothing, at least no contact.
Well, it's a difficult angle because obviously he hits it on maybe on the back of Troutman's shoulder pads. Generally, you're not just going to start shaking your hand unless they have some kind of contact. We tried going back through some previous plays and couldn't find anything, so it had to have been on that follow-through.
2nd and 7 for the Jets. Chris Johnson once again out to the 24. Jaleel Adai up from the secondary for the tackle. And we're in the last minute and 20 seconds of the first quarter.
Geno Smith and the Jets need to get a 3rd down conversion. Geno starting off the game 1 of 5 for 7 yards. Just to get some momentum going for the Jets. Just keep this offense on the field. Have something good to feel about as you move forward. And now going back to 3rd and 9 is not going to help any.
Offense, 12 men in the huddle. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
One of those things that drive a coach nuts, huh?
Well, it's just proven out in the numbers. The chance for conversion on 3rd and 4 compared to 3rd and 9 is completely different. You're giving the advantage to the defense, and they can dictate the pressure. They can dictate the zone coverage.
And you saw Philip Rivers' right hand being tended to on the sideline. 3rd and 8. Geno Smith with time. Throwing incomplete. Penalty marker is thrown. Marcus Gilchrist covering Jeff Cumberland, the tight end.
Jeff Cumberland, intended receiver.
There is no foul on the play. Result of the play is an incomplete pass. It's 4th down.
So they had a conversation and decided it wasn't worth the flag.
See, Gilchrist in coverage, and he doesn't turn around, but he doesn't make contact. Adai comes low from the outside. He was covering the wide receiver, Salas, down the right sideline. He saw the ball thrown inside to the seam. He comes in and goes low. But I thought that Gilchrist had good coverage up the field. He didn't turn his head around, which a lot of times you end up getting called for that, but a back shoulder throw is when you run through the receiver. That time it wasn't a back shoulder throw. It actually looked like the ball goes off Gilchrist's helmet. And the call gets overturned, or at least the officials discuss it and get it right.
So Ryan Quigley kicking it away now to Eddie Royal. A better kick than his previous efforts. That's Royal all the way back up inside his own 20-yard line. Markers fly as Royal breaks free across the 25 and out to the 28-yard line.
That's going to be half the distance of the goal line. It appears a block in the back.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 20 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. San Diego's ball, 1st down. Timeout.
So that's Chris Davis, and we'll keep an eye on Philip Rivers, who's showing every sign of coming back into the game. 12 seconds to play in the first quarter. Philip Rivers still out there. Let's check in with Evan.
Well, guys, as you can see, he was in some discomfort there. Was the right hand. He spent the majority of that Jets offensive possession with Chargers athletic trainers working on that right hand and finger. No official word. He's obviously out on the field right now. He took some passes with backup Kellen Clemens, who at the moment is still have his hat on, watching the action, but it's clearly that right hand. He was in some discomfort. I'll keep an eye on it for you.
Thanks, Evan. Last 12 seconds of the first quarter coming up. From their own 8-yard line, Donald Brown, and not much there, and that should do it for the quarter. It's a quarter that was dominated by San Diego. The touchdown pass to Antonio Gates, 7-0 San Diego. This is the NFL on
That's
CBS.
the end of the first quarter.
Welcome back to San Diego, everybody. Today with NFL Now, watch a free preview of the ultimate video highlights experience on your phone, tablet, or desktop. Don't miss a big play from your fantasy team or favorite player. Start watching free today at NFL.com/now.
Hey, everybody down, Max 5-2.
Chargers start with a 2nd and 7 at their own 12-yard line. And this is Donald Brown ahead for about a yard. Look at Philip Rivers on this pass, Trent.
You're going to see Trout when he's coming off here, and as he follows through, you're going to see the hand hit the back of the shoulder pad or back of the helmet. It's the best view we have. You see as he comes through right a little bit further, you'll see his hand come through and hit right up the back of the helmet, upper shoulder pad area. And immediately after that play, that's when Philip Rivers starts shaking his hand, and it's the index finger that they've been looking at.
So on 3rd and 5, Rivers going to touch that hand with the pass, and that's complete. Antonio Gates with running room down the sideline. And out of bounds across the 40-yard line for a first down.
That finger didn't affect his accuracy on that throw. It's Gates coming across the field. A lot of defensive players will say that's a pick, that's a rub route to offensive guys like me. You have the receiver coming from the left, bubbling over the top, getting the defender to avoid that contact.
Saying pick is against your religion.
That's right, you
isn't it?
can't say pick. It's a rub route. That's exactly what it is.
Brandon Oliver is in the backfield now for the Chargers. New set of downs. Oliver tries right guard and out to about the 45. And Sheldon Richardson getting a little testy inside. It's hard to believe after talking to Sheldon Richardson he could get testy with anybody. He's just such an easygoing, smiling guy.
And very opinionated. He had a lot of thoughts and ideas on a number of different topics, but he's going to be a good player for them for a long time.
Load it, 5-2. Right?
Hey, go Rocket. Hey, all team, all 20, Rocket.
Rocket.
Delta. Dot.
Rivers with time and threw it away. Keenan Allen well covered on the near side. And it'll be 3rd and 6. Asked Philip Rivers if their start this year was a carryover from the way they finished last season, which was like gangbusters. They won 4 in a row in 5 of their last 6 games to make the playoffs and finished 9 and 7. And he said, in typical Rivers fashion, I think so.
Right. 90 hot. Hey, I want to go 80. I want to go 80. Mike's 52. Hey, don't go here.
You hear him yelling 80 there. You hear Philip Rivers yelling 80. That's a pass protection for the Chargers, and he just switched it up.
Under pressure, throwing out the middle of the field, and he's got it! Eddie Royal with the catch.
Great recognition by Philip Rivers pre-snap, and we have the audio to pick up how he changed protection. There was something that the Jets showed in their defensive front that cued Philip Rivers into pressure coming. You heard him yell 80 at the line of scrimmage. That slid the protection so it was able to pick it up and give him time to get the ball upfield one-on-one to Royal.
32 yards on the play. And the Chargers now set up at the 22-yard line, and San Diego calls a timeout. First time out of the game called. It's
First
used by the
charge
Chargers
timeout.
with
San
12:15 to
Diego.
play in the first half. Geno Smith waiting his turn on the sideline, just 1 of 6 for 7 yards so far today throwing the football. There you see D. Milliner in the middle of the field. And number 24, Philip Adams, is out on the far side. Darren Walls on the sideline. Rivers throwing far side of the field. Intercepted by Adams. Philip Adams with the pick inside the 5-yard line. And now it's ruled a touchback, so it'll come out to the 20.
Philip Adams with the interception.
That will be the first interception of the season for the New York Jets.
Jets ball first and 10 at the 20.
You can see a contested throw, a play that earlier Malcolm Floyd was able to come up with down the sidelines against Darren Walls. This time, Keenan Allen one-on-one with Philip Adams, and Adams just goes up and contested ball, but he comes down with it. And as you said, Greg, that's the first interception of the season for the Jets and stops a potential scoring drive.
Philip Rivers had thrown 128 straight passes without an interception.
The ruling on the previous play of an interception and touchback is under further review. Timeout.
So they are taking another look at the turnover, and they'll do that. We'll do this and come right back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. T-Mobile. And by Chili's, where fresh is happening now.
Miramar Air Show taking place here in Southern California. Here's Ron Torbert.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's New York's ball, first and 10 at the 20-yard line.
So we thought for a moment, Trent, that maybe they were looking at where they would spot the ball. That's clearly a touchback.
Well, and there was even a little bit of a bobble right when the ball happens. You can see Keenan Allen's leg comes up and knocks it loose a little bit, but Adams is able to secure that ball with his right hand and doesn't indicate at all that it touches the ground. The key here is the official is in excellent position to have his eye on the football so it doesn't hit the ground.
First interception of the season for the Jet defense. From the 20-yard line now, Chris Johnson in the backfield alongside Geno Smith, who is just 1 of 6 throwing the football today, and that is going to be for no gain. Is that a loose ball? Loose at about the 20-yard line. A couple of Chargers will say it's theirs. And it is. Chris Johnson, as he went down, and that was close to being down by contact with a knee on the ground.
And that's something that they'll have to review. The ball looks like it's coming out. From that angle, it looks like it could be coming out. I want to say it looks like Ricardo Matthews coming from behind. You can see him punch as he's making the contact. So if you put the combination of the two angles together, it appears like the ball is coming out before the knee hits the ground.
Jason Ferret on the recovery.
The fumble recovered by San Diego will go under further review. Timeout.
So they'll look at it and we'll take a break. This is the NFL on CBS. Ron Torbert still looking at the play. Let's check in with Mike Carey, our officiating expert back in New York. What'd you see, Mike?
Well, this is a two-part play because you want to find where the runner is when the ball comes loose. From one angle, you see where the knee is down, and on the reverse angle, you'll see the ball's already up and he's still running. So the ball is out early. You'll see the ball spit out right here, and you'll be able to piece the two together. His body position is that of a runner, not down by contact.
San Diego's ball.
Just as you said, Mr. Carey, the call has been confirmed. We appreciate your input.
anytime.
We're gonna find him wrong one of these days, but it'll probably be a cold day in Southern California before that happens. Meanwhile, the Jets just squander an opportunity. They stop at a Charger attempt at a score and give the ball right back at their own 20-yard line.
Hold it, 5-4. Hot. Hold it, 5-2. Hold it, 5-2. Delta. Done.
On first down, Rivers going to throw it. That's complete. The 15 to the 10. Penalty marker flies. It's Antonio Gates again. That one came from deep in the secondary.
That was an unusual, as you said, Greg, came from deep in the secondary to see where that, what it was that he saw. Could be an offensive pass interference.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense, number 52. Penalty is declined. Second down.
So that penalty is on David Harris.
Our gain of 5 yards. Second and 1 from the 11.
So it's a 9-yard pickup, and it makes it 2nd and 1.
Right here, I want you to see David Harris is going to make contact, and it's only about 6 yards. The line of scrimmage is the 20, and watch where he makes contact. It's 6 yards upfield, and that's what is ultimately called. Jets aren't going to be real happy about that call. That's whether or not that has an impact on the play. I understand the rule is right at 5 yards, but considering the official that
San
threw the
Diego
flag
has elected to accept the illegal contact penalty. It will be an automatic first down.
Considering the official that threw that play was 25 to 30 yards away from it, to know that it was a 1-yard difference, I don't know. We'd have to ask Mike Carey on that one. That's a pretty amazing call. Rex won't be real happy about it, though.
So now, instead of it being 2nd and 1 at the 11, the Chargers have accepted the penalty, and it's a first down at the 15.
Well, the important thing to remember now is 1st and 15. Now you can get a first down inside the 5-yard line, which is a better situation to have ultimately if you are able to pick it up.
Whoa. Donald Brown just grabbed around the neck by Quentin Couples. He got a little neck, a lot of helmet, and there's a penalty marker down.
But once again, the official that calls this penalty is on the far side of the field from where the play happens, and there's 3 other officials that are closer to the play that don't throw a flag.
On the tackle, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the defense. That's half the distance to the goal, and an automatic first down.
What is unnecessarily rough about that, other than the fact that he happened to grab him? Let's take a look.
Now it's coming to the left side of the screen. Comes off the edge. I don't know what unnecessary roughness is. You have unnecessary roughness on the quarterback, but if you're a ball carrier, it wasn't a face mask. Maybe we need to call in Mike Carey, because I don't
understand that call either. So they'll wind the clock. And it's 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Rivers over the middle, touchdown. Gates, no, excuse me, Ladarius Green, number 89. Penalty flag in the backfield.
Holding by the offense, number 65. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
And so this one will come back. The penalty is on the rookie, Chris Watt.
That's who they're getting on the penalty, right? You can see he just tackles Sheldon Richardson. Here's again, you see 65 on the right side of your screen. It's one thing to hook him, it's another thing to bring him to the ground.
So we have now had penalties on 3 straight plays. So it's 1st and goal now from about the 17.5-yard line. Rivers to throw. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Keenan Allen and covered by D. Milliner.
Keenan Allen
And Rivers pulls himself off the ground.
Well, and it appears that Milliner is all over the back of the receiver.
Meanwhile, this is what happened to Philip Rivers.
There's his nemesis, Sheldon Richardson, again, with a big hit on Rivers.
That looked pretty clean, though.
It was. It was a clean hit. Clean, hard hit.
Still a goal to go. Pass to this side. This is Allen, and Allen about the 12.
David Harris with the tackle.
Chargers like to do that a lot. Short passes give their speedy guys room to run.
Well, and that's the thing. When you look at Philip Rivers' numbers and you say you're coming into the game with over 70% complete, how does that actually materialize? Well, there are a lot of short passes, but as we've seen today, he's been accurate up the field with the deep throws as well.
3rd and goal now from the 12.
Hot! Hey, I want to go Lex! Lex! Down top!
Here comes the blitz. Rivers got rid of it. To the end zone. Caught by Antonio Gates. There's a penalty marker down at the 15.
Well, and I think it's going to be important to see if he gets both feet
Before
down
the
here.
pass, holding, defense, number 58. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Jason Babin guilty of the penalty. Antonio Gates with a 2nd TD catch of the day.
And here he is isolated one-on-one with Antonio Allen again. Let's see, 1-2. It appears that he has control of the football with that first foot down. Let's see, right, left. Unless they say he's bobbling it and doesn't secure it till that 2nd foot is down, I'd be surprised if they don't take a look at this. Little bobble.
They will
with that
look at it
first pass.
automatically. They usually
Well, they look at it automatically,
Sure.
but they have to buzz him on the field still.
So they allowed the extra point to be kicked.
10:15 remaining first half.
Oddities abound.
That was a series of about 5 or 6 back-to-back plays with penalties and some judgment calls.
Meanwhile, Rivers thrown to the turf, but not before he throws his 2nd TD pass of the day. Back in San Diego, that's number 34 running back Donald Brown being escorted to the locker room. Brown with 9 carries for 26 yards so far today. And there's Philip Rivers, who is 10 out of 15 today. Not many quarterbacks can go 10 out of 15 and have their percentage drop. Hakeem running it out of the end zone and doesn't get further than about the 16-yard line before he's brought down. A reminder, this is the 6th year of the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign, which raises awareness around the importance of annual screenings for breast cancer. And the Chargers welcome 35 breast cancer survivors on the field to participate in the pregame activities, including forming a human pink ribbon for the national anthem. Right there in the middle, Susie Spanos, the wife of Chargers President Dean Spanos, a breast cancer survivor herself, showing the way. From their own 16-yard line, Geno Smith to throw, sideline. And that is complete across the 20 to the 23-yard line. The catch is made by Jeremy Curley.
That's very important, not only for Geno Smith, but for this offense to get something going. Come out with a positive play on first down instead of, everybody shrugging their shoulders going back to the huddle. Only 2 first downs total for the Jets so far in this game. They have to get something going on this drive.
Chargers with 7 on the board in the first quarter, 7 here in the second. Chris Ivory in the backfield. On 2nd and 4, Geno throw again this side, and it's complete to Greg Salas, and that's out of bounds, and that'll be enough for a Jet first down, their 3rd of the first half. Let's go down to Evan.
Well, guys, just a quick update. You saw Donald Brown lead the field there, and I watched him since he took that hit from Copels. The medical staff didn't work on any specific body part. They were just talking to him the entire possession there for the Chargers. I'm still awaiting official word. I'll let you know, but obviously Brand headed to the locker room, so now it's Oliver's carries.
All right, Evan, thank you. And a reminder once again, Ryan Matthew already out of action for the San Diego Chargers. There's a penalty marker down. TJ Graham got the handoff, but
Ball start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
so that's the right guard, Willie Colon. Jets not doing themselves any favors, Trent, in the penalty department.
Yeah, it's been a problem. Just so many negative plays. You think about the turnovers they've had. You know, not only in this game, they finally got a turnover they finally got their first interception, got good field position, then handed it right back on the first play. So too many negative plays affecting the Jets offense and their tempo right now.
Straight drop for Geno Smith under pressure, dancing out of the way of trouble and throws incomplete. Intended for Chris Ivory. I think Geno Smith had a little more time than he thought he did and hurried his throw.
Well, and once he spun out of that final grasp, he did have time. He could have slid over more to the numbers, and you know, as things slow down, as you get more comfortable in the pocket and the progression, you can see he gets away. He has some time to buy there to set his feet a little better, and a lot of that comes down to his footwork and just not being settled before making that attempt.
So it's 2nd and 15. Smith going to give it to Ivory. Ivory with running room, the right side. Stopped just short of the 30-yard line. Marcus Gilchrist, Eric Weddle coming up to make the stop. We talked with Eric Weddle. Does he not have one of the best beards on the planet?
He could have his own TV show, isn't it? Right? He'd fit right in with the Duck Dynasty boys.
I said, do you ever like walk past a mirror and just find things in that? It's unbelievable. Said he hasn't shaved it. Said hasn't shaved since July 18th of 2013. 3rd and 7. Geno Smith under pressure. On the move, going to tuck it and run. And out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Bumped out roughly on the far side of the field. Not enough for a first down. Cordero Law doing the chasing.
And once again, another short, quick drive for the Jets. Not being able to sustain a drive, putting them in difficult position, and almost 8 minutes or just under 8 minutes till halftime. If this continues to go this way, it's only going to raise more questions as to, do you make that switch at halftime? Do you try and bring Michael Vick in to re-energize your offense?
Fair catch called for by Eddie Royal, and he lets it bounce, and it rolls out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. It'll be at the 9-yard line. 7:28 to play here in the first half. Thursday, your football week starts here with the Colts and the Houston Texans showdown. It's another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. And anytime you get a chance to see J.J. Watt play football, that's a bonus.
What an exciting player. Two of the most exciting players in the game right now, Andrew Luck and J.J. Watt. And it'll be a great battle coming up on Thursday night. He's just such a tremendous athlete. Catches touchdowns, playing some tight end. He catches interceptions for touchdowns.
Does commercials.
That's right. Oh, he did a little dancing in that commercial too, didn't he? Right.
390.
Can't wait to see him and talk about that. There's Brandon Oliver. Oliver across the 10 to about the 12-yard line. So Oliver next up in the running back trials. You know, this San Diego team barely lost week 1 to Arizona. They've won 3 in a row, but they are a beat-up football team. So many injuries.
Well, that's a tremendous point, because you look at those injuries and the fact that they're able to overcome it. And next guy steps in there, Brandon Oliver. You know, I'm watching tape on him, and I sit there and I see a Darren Sproles who started his career in San Diego, and you see he's 5'8" and got a thick stature like a Darren Sproles, and it'll be now he's got to carry the load.
You saw Ryan Matthews on the sideline. Here's Rivers, and out of the backfield, maintaining his balance, is Brandon Oliver. Kyle Wilson with the first hit on Oliver.
Knocked out of bounds by Philip Adams.
Let's listen to this.
That's complete to
3rd and 1.
Mike McCoy talked about balance and trying to run the football right now. 13 rush attempts to 16 pass attempts, so they've maintained it.
Oliver looking for the first down. Diving for it, and this is going to be close. It looks like he has it.
First down, Chargers.
So that'll keep this drive alive with 6 minutes to play in the first half, and Rich Ryan looking for answers. You know, you referenced the whole thing about Michael Vick and whether or not he should replace Geno Smith. I know that's the popular thing among the fan base back in New York. You don't necessarily agree with it, at least not yet.
You know, I don't. I think that Geno Smith they've stuck with him as a rookie. They stuck with him early in the season, and he has to continue to get better. Right now, he doesn't have a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball that he's able to get the ball down the field to.
Another crossing pattern, and that is complete to Ladarius Green. He's brought down at about the 27-yard line. You know, they've talked about the rough start that Geno Smith has had in his young career, and this is only his second year. Take a look at the comparison to what Eli Manning went through his first 20 starts.
A couple of high-pressure quarterbacks in New York City, and obviously Eli's gone on to win a couple of Super Bowls.
Squeezing through a hole off right tackle is Brandon Oliver. And that's a first down as we duck under the 5-minute mark.
So there's something to say about sticking with your young quarterbacks, letting them learn, letting them grow as a leader, letting them grow into the position.
And that's not to say that it's a one-man show, because obviously you need some help surrounding you.
Well, and you go back to those Giant teams that when Eli was starting out, they had a running game. You know, they had Tiki Barber, they had a solid defense. They're trying to get established with the passing game as Eli developed.
Oliver, left side. And a late penalty marker comes out of the backfield. And this is going to be against the Chargers.
Holding. Offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That penalty on the tight end Green. So we'll back that up. What do you feel, Trent, about the whole supplying at least a spark, even as a temporary?
Well, and that's why I said at halftime they're going to have to address it if the game continues the way it is, just to bring a spark. Now the negative to that is if you do make the switch and Michael comes in and plays well and gives that spark, then you all of a sudden have an issue, you know, going into next week. And you know, whether or not, if you move on from Geno and decide to go with Michael as your starter, then you've decided to move on from Geno forever.
That pass is complete to the near side to Malcolm Floyd, and Malcolm Floyd run out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Let's get an update once again from the NFL Today in New York. We read
back and forth, Boomer.
And Boomer.
Watch this route by Stevie Johnson up top, turns his defender around. Perfect throw by Colin Kaepernick. Great game happening out in San Francisco. 13-10. San Francisco over Kansas City.
My bad, Greg. Did not mean to step on you. Back to Greg Gumbel.
I'm used to being stepped on, JB. Thank you so much. Second and 13. And Rivers to throw. Under pressure and going down. Courtesy of Calvin Pace. So heading into week 5, the Jets, the league leaders in sacks, tack on another one. And it'll be 3rd and 18.
You'll see Pace coming off the edge here. He's on DJ Fluker, and he does a spin move to get to the inside. Goes upfield. They try and chip him as he's coming up the field, but he spins away from that chip and gets inside. That's Fluker's problem, not understanding that the back Oliver is there to give him that chip and give him help to the outside, so you can't give up the inside line.
Make it 3rd and 17, and Rivers, under pressure again, squeezes away, throws it, and it's complete. This is Oliver up the sideline, 40, 35, 30, and down inside the 25-yard line. David Harris with the tackle.
First down, Chargers.
Tremendous job by Phillip Rivers getting away from the pressure but maintaining his poise. Once he collects himself, he knows where his outlet is, and he's able to get it out to Oliver. We talk about Geno Smith maintaining his poise when you get outside the pocket, when you get flushed, when you have the pressure. And that was a great example by Phillip Rivers, maintaining that composure and getting to your check down.
And that takes us to 2 minutes to play. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. 50-yard pickup, Rivers to Oliver. We'll be right back. That's right tackle DJ Fluker limping off the field, and he's been replaced by Willie Smith at right tackle.
Yep. 390.
This is Oliver. And Oliver brought down at about the 20-yard line.
Now watch, let's go back to the sack when Fluker gets hurt. Pace is coming up the field, and when he does his spin move, there's one of two things it could be. It could be his left foot as it comes through off of this spin. You see Pace's left foot come down on Fluker's ankle, or it's the right foot coming up here and kicking him on the inside part of the thigh. One of those two things is what caused Fluker to leave the field.
How about cramping on a day like this, Trent?
You'd like to think this early in the second quarter that wouldn't be an issue, but when you got a guy that's 340, 350 pounds, I guess it could always be a problem.
Not just him. The Chargers have two really large human beings starting at their tackle position. DJ Fluker on the right and King Dunlap on the left.
Well, you got Fluker at 6'5", 340, and you've got Dunlap at 6'9", and they list them at 330, but you and I kind of do a double take at each other when they saw that.
So Willie Smith replacing Fluker, at least it appears, for the remainder of this first half. 3rd and 2. 50 seconds to play. You have to hand it to the San Diego Chargers. The New York Jets came in here with the #1 rushing defense in the NFL, allowing 63.3 yards rushing. And they've allowed, so far, 69, but they've done a great job, the Chargers have, of puncturing the middle of that Jet defense. 91 yards.
A few minutes ago, I mentioned how Brandon Oliver reminds me of Darren Sproles. He comes up here and he gets hid behind the line of scrimmage before he takes it up through the seam. And what happens as you come up to the line of scrimmage, you're almost ducked down to where the defenders can't see you. Calvin Pryor comes up from the safety position, thinks he's coming to the outside, but then all of a sudden, Oliver pops through the middle, and at that point in time, it's too late.
12-play, 91-yard drive, culminating with the 15-yard touchdown run for Brandon Oliver. And for Oliver, his first touchdown of the season. Reminder, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and company will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Let me clarify, 69 rushing yards here in the first half for the San Diego Chargers against a Jet defense that came in allowing 63.3 yards a game. $21-0 Chargers with 42 seconds to play. Salim Hakeem from the goal line. And across the 25 to about the 26-yard line. That's Keenan Allen, the second-year wide receiver for the Chargers. Meanwhile, Geno Smith and the Jet offense, a punt, a punt, a punt, a fumble, and a punt. And the longest drive consisting of 5 plays.
Well, and that fumble just kills you because you had just gotten a turnover from Phillip Rivers in the end zone. You had the ball at the 20-yard line, and then you give it back to him in great field position.
Jets with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Smith on the slant. And out to the 35-yard line is David Nelson. And they will blow the clock dead with their first timeout. 31 seconds on the clock. And a reminder, once again, the Verizon halftime report. James Brown and the gang with the scores and the highlights.
Timeout, New York.
And a preview of Thursday Night
30-second
Football
timeout.
coming up on the Verizon halftime report. So the question, Trent, the first half of this game, is it a Geno Smith problem? Is it a New York Jets problem?
Well, I think it's a New York Jet problem when you look at the fact that San Diego's been very effective running the football against, as you already mentioned, the number one rush defense, only giving up 63 yards a game, and up until this point, you know, the Chargers have 69 yards rushing. So this is an all-encompassing thing right now that the Jets are dealing with.
Geno Smith gonna cut loose down the near sideline. It's grabbed. We got a penalty marker down. Caught by Jason Marley. And let's check the flag.
Marcus Gilchrist defending. Penalty flag.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 86. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
So David Nelson gets flagged for the penalty. That is the 7th penalty of the game.
You're going to see a clump of players come up here, and they're going to get a rub here, or in this case, it's a pass interference. Nelson goes up and gets a block on Amaro's defender.
Geno Smith scrambling out of trouble, being chased, and throws it away. I started to say 7 penalties on the Jets for 43 yards so far today.
I think the thing that's jumped out to me a little bit from watching Geno, and yeah, he's been under pressure. I think John Pagano's done a nice job with his defense today, finding different ways to get pressure on Geno Smith. But Geno, because of that pressure now, has started looking a little bit at the pass rush. He's not keeping his eyes downfield and just sliding by feel. He sometimes, at least these last couple of series, is getting caught up trying to find those defenders and move around with his feet after that.
You saw Phillip Rivers leaving the field early, maybe just getting a jump on halftime. Geno Smith going to cast off down the middle of the field. It is intercepted. Picked off by Brandon Flowers. Flowers tripped up and is down at the 45-yard line by David Nelson.
Intended for Greg Salas.
Geno Smith's 6th interception of the season.
Jeremy Curley with the tackle.
And John Pagano was telling us what a great addition Brandon Flowers has been. Said he just shows up every day and is a pro. He prepares like a pro, he studies like a pro, and he's a great example for the other defensive backs. And obviously the combination with Eric Weddle and Marcus Gilchrist back there, that veteran presence, it's a great group to work with. And John didn't have enough, couldn't say enough good things about that group.
And that brings Phillip Rivers back out of the locker room to take a snap here and take us to halftime. It has been a terrific first half for the San Diego Chargers. For the Jets, not so much. 21-0 San Diego. We're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The first half was a nightmare for the visiting New York Jets and their quarterback Geno Smith. The San Diego Chargers had everything going their own way. Penalties on the Jets didn't help them at all. Phillip Rivers pinpoint accuracy as usual, and at the break, the San Diego Chargers with the lead by a score of 21-0. Welcome back to San Diego. Let's get you right down to Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, Greg, the wait's over. Michael Vick will get his shot here in the second half. I spoke with Rex Ryan as he came out of the locker room. He said, look, it's not all on Geno. He's really disappointed in his defense, but he said, I'm not going to just sit here and let this happen, looking for some sort of spark. So Michael Vick will finally get his shot for the Jets here in the second half.
All right, Evan, thank you. Greg Gumbel and Trent Green back upstairs, and I think we're a little bit surprised, Trent, because this isn't really what Rex Ryan told us last night.
Well, and I think once you make this move, once you decide to go with Michael Vick in in the second half. You've decided to go with Michael Vick as your starter. I don't see how you can come back at the end of this game and say Geno Smith is your starter going into next week, unless something would happen to Michael from a physical standpoint. But I think that Geno Smith is now the backup to Michael Vick.
You feel this is the right move?
I do not feel it's the right move. I talked earlier, and we showed the graphic in the first half about Eli Manning and his development as a young quarterback and sticking with a young quarterback and developing. Michael Vick is 34 years old. You know he's only going to play a couple of more seasons, and you've invested a lot a lot of time into Geno Smith, and sometimes you got to ride through the hard times, but now that they've made this move, I think that it ends up being Michael Vick's team the rest of the way.
Certainly part of the consideration, and I think you heard the guys talk about it on the pregame show today on the NFL Today, that this AFC East is more of a toss-up. It would feel like this year more than any other year in recent times, simply because of the struggles of the New England Patriots early on, and the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills just changed quarterbacks. The Jets are not out of this race at all.
Well, they're not, and I believe that's what they're hoping to do, is get that spark, just like Buffalo. You mentioned Buffalo got a win today with the new quarterback in Kyle Orton, and hopefully the Jets, if that's what they're trying to do here with Michael Vick.
This will not be run out of the end zone by Brandon Oliver, and so the Chargers will take it from their own 20-yard line as we look at the first half. And boy, so many glaring things there. 238 passing yards to 27. They've outrushed the New York Jets, and the Jets came into this game being able to run the ball pretty doggone well. Number 2 in the NFL at more than 150 a game.
Well, there's clearly in the numbers you can talk about it's more than a Geno Smith problem what's going on with the Jets right now. They've struggled, as you said, on the defensive side of the ball. They struggled turning the ball over with the fumble by Chris Johnson. And it's just a matter for San Diego to come out and get over 300 yards in the first half against this defense is very surprising.
That's probably the most surprising aspect of this game. This is a rock-solid Jet defense that Phillip Rivers has been having his way with, and he's going to go right to the air. No, he's going to go to the turf. Number 97, Calvin Pace.
They bring pressure off the edges. They're not blitzing anybody on this play, but you can see that the pressure that's coming from both edges. There's room for Phillip Rivers to step up into the pocket. He's just too late sliding up in the pocket.
Hey, we got to go Mike 5-2, guys, okay?
That is the third sack of Phillip Rivers.
390. Read hot.
Today. This is Oliver. And Oliver couldn't break free at the 16-yard line. This is what San Diego did in the first half. Just one punt.
Well, and you can see that interception. After the interception, it was only one snap for the Jets, and they turned the ball right back over. That's why you see the next line down starting at the 20-yard line. You have 20 yards and a touchdown. So that turnover didn't hurt him in.
3rd and 14. And a chance for the Jet defense to make a statement right off the bat here in the second half. San Diego 9 out of 10 on 3rd downs today. Lofting it out to the far side, and that's not going to work. Brought down at the 15-yard line is Eddie Royal, and the Jet defense all over that one. We get word from the sideline that Donald Brown, the running back for the San Diego Chargers, suffered a concussion in the first half. So we are seeing more of Brandon Oliver, and the injuries continue to pile up.
Well, and the halftime speech to the Jets defense must have inspired him, because they came out there and the success that San Diego had in the first half didn't carry over to this first drive.
Walter Powell for the Jets. At the 35, shakes a tackle, breaking to the outside, and wrestled to the ground by Cavell Connor. Here comes Michael Vick when we come back. In the middle of that Jet huddle, in his 14th season as Michael Vick out of Virginia Tech, he has thrown one ball this year. It was incomplete. He has run the ball once for 3 yards, and he's been sacked once. And he starts out of the shotgun. And the give is to Chris Ivory. And Ivory bouncing it outside and out of bounds short of midfield at about the 47.5-yard line. Career 21,489 passing yards with 3 different NFL teams. He is the NFL's all-time leader in career rushing yards by a quarterback. And as we said, just 1 passing attempt, 1 rushing attempt so far this young season. 2nd and 5. Vic pulls it down. He goes down, and we have a penalty marker in the backfield. Sean Lismore, the nose tackle, coming right up the middle.
With the sack.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 74. A penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That's the veteran center, Nick Mangold.
8-yard sack.
You'll see Lismore coming right up the middle against Mangold. They're right here in the middle, and there's an emphasis this year on offensive lineman hand to the face. You can see initial movement by Mangold to put that right hand right into the face mask of Lismore, and that's going to be called, as I said, because of the point of emphasis this year.
You know, it didn't bother Mr. Lismore one single bit. 3rd and 13. And Vic calls a timeout. Chargers crowding around the line of scrimmage. Michael Vick did not like what he sees. We'll be back. 3rd down. The New York Jets have not been in San Diego territory all day long. 3rd and 13. Sheldon Richardson, by the way, did not come out of the locker room in the second half. He has a neck injury. The Jets say his return is questionable. Vic gonna go deep. Incomplete. Pass intended for Greg Salas, covered by Richard Marshall. And that will bring the punting unit on.
Marshall does a good job of stacking on top of Salas and not allowing him to get by as a defensive back. If you get in the runner's running lane, he can't run right over the top of you, so it was good positioning by Marshall.
Ryan Quigley kicking it away. And a fair catch called for and made by Keenan Allen. Back at his own 10-yard line. Hey, a reminder, Saturday, a great SEC doubleheader. The action kicks off live at noon Eastern time with the best games from the best conference. Georgia taking on Missouri, and then continuing with a battle of undefeated. Number 2 Auburn against 3rd-ranked Mississippi State. All of that right here on CBS Sports.
How about the fact that 4 of the top 6 teams in the country lost yesterday? Crazy day in college football.
Like ball 2, set!
First down.
390!
Rivers and the Chargers from their own 10. This is Oliver. And nothing doing up the middle. Maybe a yard. We've got a penalty flag.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 65. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
Face mask penalties now in vogue. Chris Watt guilty. The rookie out of Notre Dame.
We just mentioned
New York
Mangold
is elected
getting
to
called.
decline the face mask penalty. Result of the play is 2nd down.
So the Jets say no thanks to the penalty. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Hey, Lucy! Hey, Space Lucy! Hey, Space 56 Lucy! Space 56 Lucy! Delta! Cut!
Rivers, sideline. That's complete. Shazy Ajiro-Tutu across the 20 to the 22.5-yard line and a first down.
I like the play call because it gets the ball out of Philip Rivers' hands quickly. He's taken a couple of shots not only at the end of the first half but in the second half as well. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly, gets it into Ajiro-Tutu's hands, who does the spin move and is able to pick up the first down.
So new set of downs from their own 22-yard line for the Chargers and Philip Rivers. Rivers to throw again. Now he's going to tuck it to the right and slide down across the 25 to the 26-yard line. These Chargers started the season with a 1-point loss at Arizona, and then beat Seattle, Buffalo, and Jacksonville, and they have Oakland next week. And right now they are the division leaders in the AFC West.
On the 26.
Well, if you ask them, they're not real happy when you consider they blew an 11-point fourth quarter lead in that opener at Arizona, as you mentioned.
Hey, I'm going to go lightning.
2nd and 6.
Lightning. Delta. Son.
This is Oliver, left side, breaking through, and there he goes. Oliver brought down inside the 25-yard line at the 22. Phillip Adams finally made the saving tackle. 52 yards on the play.
Welcome to the spotlight, Brandon Oliver, against the #1 rush defense in the league. He's now nearing 100 yards on 13 carries. Mike McCoy was pretty adamant upon the fact they were going to run the football and they were going to continue to attempt to run the football, and they've had success with it today.
Sean Drone into the backfield, and he gets the handoff for his first carry of the day. He bounces it outside and down to about the 16-yard line. I think that's the most amazing thing of this day so far, Trent, is the way the Chargers, who have not been able to run the ball previously, have been able to run it against this Jet defense.
They were averaging just over 2 yards per carry coming into this game, and today having much more success than that.
Now Damon Harrison down on one knee in the middle of the Jet defense, and that's going to bring a timeout with 9:05 to play in the third quarter. The Chargers with the lead and threatening. Damon Harrison walked off the field, and he is being looked at over on the Jets sideline. Meanwhile, the Chargers with 2nd and 4.
Green 90! Green hot!
Drone brought down by Muhammad Wilkerson. Let's go back to that injury to Harrison.
Well, here's Chris Watt, the rookie. He's matched up on Harrison. As this play continues, you're going to see backup tight end John Phillips go to the ground. And as Harrison goes over, he's been over backwards, that pile. Watt drives him into the ground, but over the body of Phillips, and you can just see Harrison's leg, that right leg gets caught underneath Phillips as he goes to the ground.
Quentin Copeland has now moved up front for the Jets, along with Muhammad Wilkerson and Leger Douzable. Richardson, you recall, is out, and Harrison now too, at least for the time being. 3rd and 7. Reverse quick pass. That's complete to the 10-yard line. Keenan Allen, and that's a first down. And we have a conference among officials in the backfield. With Ron Torbert now talking to the Jets.
The 40-second play clocks are malfunctioning. Please shut off the play clocks. We'll keep the 40 and 25-second play clock on the field.
Here's that explanation. Meanwhile, Sheldon Richardson, Damon Harrison, and now Darren Walls is out with a knee injury. It really hasn't mattered who has been on the field defensively for the Jets. They haven't had much of an answer for Phillip Rivers at all today.
Well, and the impressive thing for the Chargers is they're dealing with injuries as well. They've got Chris Watt, the rookie at right guard. They've got Willie Smith, who's the backup to DJ Fluker at right tackle. And they've got their third running back in Brandon Oliver, who has 97 yards rushing. So they're dealing with a lot of backups as well. It's just their backups have responded very well today.
Damon Harrison has returned to the field now in the middle of the lineup. This is Oliver, right side, and maybe a yard to the 9. San Diego has had their share as well. Donald Brown left the game with a concussion. DJ Fluker And Phillip Rivers had a little issue with his hand, but seems to have recovered from that pretty well.
Hey, Rocky, 5-2.
Second and goal.
Rocky, 5-2. Rocky. Bring it hot.
Quick pass. Oliver, touchdown.
There's an old saying in football that low man wins, whether you're talking about linemen. Look how low Brandon Oliver gets to the ground, and Calvin Pryor comes up and thinks he's going to knock him back at the 1 yard line.
That puts the cap on a 90-yard drive. And Phillip Rivers and the Chargers just eating the Jets alive. The extra point is good. 6:44 to play in the third quarter. 4-touchdown lead, 28-0. San Diego. Back at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. 6:44 to play, third quarter. The Chargers in charge by a 28-0 count. And a 5-minute, 5-second drive for the Chargers. Brandon Oliver, you saw him. He's earned himself a good day.
He has, and you mentioned the length of those drives. It's amazing. You know, we talk about the number of yards that the Chargers have, nearing 400 yards of total offense, but the drives that they've put together, sustaining the clock, using up yardage, running the ball, with the play action pass, Phillip Rivers accurate up the field. They put in a solid day's work on the offensive side of the ball. We're not even to the fourth quarter yet.
This is Salim Hakeem from the 1. Tripped up before he reached the 15-yard line by Shea Girotutu. Hey, tonight on 60 Minutes from their command center, the FBI director talks about the most dangerous threats to America and his plans to stop them. That's tonight, only CBS. You know, in previous weeks, other teams have been putting together long drives against the Jets, and today the Chargers have put together 3 drives of more than 90 yards.
And that just makes you scratch your head because of the effectiveness of this defense and the reputation of this defense.
Vick with time, throwing, complete, out to the 20-yard line to Jace Amaro, the rookie from Texas Tech. We have no play clocks available to us. Let's bring in Mike Carey from New York. What's the deal, Mike? Get these things going.
Well, when the play clocks go down, Trent, you know it puts the quarterback at a real disadvantage. So the back judge, who's right behind the safeties in direct view of the quarterback, will hold up 10 fingers when it gets down to 10 seconds and then give him a countdown so it makes it easy for him to see.
All right, Mike, thank you. Meanwhile, this is Chris Johnson. Boy, that feels like it's going back to the Stone Age, doesn't it?
That is. But Mike makes a great point because as a quarterback, you know, especially Phillip Rivers with a 4-touchdown lead, he's going to want to use up as much of that play clock as he can. And so he'll keep an eye on whenever that official gives him the 10 count, then he knows he can start getting more urgency into his cadence. Michael Vick's in a hurry-up mode anyway. You know, for him, it's get the ball snapped as quickly as you can.
First down. Here comes the blitz. Vick going to throw it down the far sideline. Incomplete. David Nelson, the intended receiver, covered by Jason Ferret. It'll be 2nd and 10. That is a good point. You have 2 quarterbacks coming at this thing from an entirely different angle.
Yeah, and right now you can just tell the body language. There's a lot of energy on the San Diego side of things. Their sideline, their huddle, their tempo in and out of things. After that ball pass falls incomplete, the 4 receivers that are up the field just walked all the way back to the line of scrimmage using a valuable time. Vick under pressure and down.
And a little pushing and shoving towards the end of the play. And there's a marker and another one. Wow, the pushing and shoving, I'd say, was extreme.
Well, there's a lot of frustration boiling over from the Jets.
Here's Ron Tolbert.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 67. We'll go half the distance from the end of the run. The down counts. It's third down.
Brian Winters, guilty of another Jet penalty.
Donald Butler is going to come all the way around the outside. Defense coordinator John Pagano has put together a great game plan to free up defenders, whether or not he's blitzing secondary defenders, the safeties coming up, the corners coming up, or doing a different combination with the linebackers. That was Winters getting the late hit in there that drew the flag.
Third and what must feel like forever for Vic. From his own end zone, far side of the field, incomplete. Not even close. And he picks himself off the turf as the punting unit comes onto the field.
Not a whole lot of plays that you can go 3rd and 25, and all that does is excite the defensive linemen and linebackers because they know they can just get after the quarterback. Secondary drops back, come up, rally, and make the tackle.
Keenan Allen. Fair catch called for and made at about the 40-yard line. 4:49 to play in the third quarter. Today, the NFL on CBS features regional action, including the Broncos and the Jets. The Steelers battling the Browns. Chargers face the Raiders. It all begins at noon Eastern Time. JB and Company on the NFL Today. Presented by Southwest Airlines, all next Sunday here on CBS. Just after we went away, a penalty flag was thrown on the New York Jets. Hakeem Salim charged with headbutting an opponent. Unnecessary roughness. The 9th penalty of the day against the Jets.
When you see Chris Owens comes up after the play's over, he shoves Hakeem in the back. What we don't catch is Hakeem comes up, and they always catch the second guy. Hakeem comes up, gives him a headbutt, and that's the penalty that was called.
9 penalties against the Jets. They are really close to officially going off the reservation.
Imploding. Well, you look at the number of injuries they've had. We've documented that, the success that San Diego's having. Now they're starting to get late hits after the whistle.
This is drawn left side and brought down at the Jet 43-yard line in the AFC East. As we said, the AFC East is one of those divisions that is generally considered to be up for grabs. Buffalo, a winner today. Miami on its bye week. New England to play tonight. And the Jets bringing up the rear at 1-3.
Well, I think why everybody talks about it being an open division, you know, the Patriots have won 5 straight years, have won that division, and I think the Monday night showing they had in Kansas City made people question that a little bit as to what direction or who was going to take charge of this division.
This is Drone again. And Drone brought down at the 41-yard line. And once again, let's get an update from New York. JB, Boomer side.
Arizona narrows the gap in a big way.
How about rookie quarterback Logan Thomas in for an injured Drew Stanton, who's out with a shoulder. He's the rookie from Virginia Tech. He's going to find Andre Ellington a little wheel route. Aqib Talib misses a tackle. Nate Irving gets beat. And the Arizona Cardinals, of all teams, 24-20, close the gap on the Broncos.
Late in the third, back to Greg Gumbel.
JB, thank you. Boomer's got a little association with the Arizona Cardinals in his past. 36. Rivers. Incomplete. And that was Keenan Allen. How many times have they run that play across the middle today?
Well, it's the, once again, whether you call it a pick or a rub, you have your 2 slot guys or your 2 receivers crossing at about 5 yards, and you're trying to get one of the defenders to bubble over, and as a quarterback, you're just reading that mesh. You know, you have your guy that you want to look at first, but you're reading that mesh, and whichever defender bubbles or gets too far behind, then that's the receiver you're going to go to.
And we get a snap and a whistle and maybe a timeout call.
Prior to the snap, first charge timeout, second charge timeout. New
Blue
York.
Angels, part of the
This is a 30-second
air show at
timeout.
Miramar. The Jets had called timeout prior to the snap. Hey, TV's #1 comedy is Genius. Join Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on a new Big Bang Theory new night tomorrow, 8/7 Central only. CBS. We were admiring the Blue Angels yesterday, Trent, for the quarter second it took them to blow by our meeting room.
We heard it a lot longer than we saw it. The whole building was shaking.
That's Walter Powell back at his 10-yard line. And Mike Cyphers kicking it away. Trying to drop this one down deep. It's going to bounce inside the 5, and it's going to stay at the 5. Things aren't tough enough for the Jets. Cyphers just made things just a little bit tougher. Week 5 continues. Just mentioned Sunday Night Football tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. Cincinnati at New England on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Seattle is at Washington. So that's total yardage for the Jets today. 62 total yards, and that's not going to accomplish anything no matter who you're playing.
Well, and they have yet to have a snap in San Diego's side of the field, so not only do you need to get some first downs to get this thing going, it'd be nice to get a big play up the field and pressure the San Diego defense.
Vick on the move, throwing, incomplete, 10-yard line. Broken up by Jason Verrett, intended for Greg Salas. This is Geno Smith in the first half, Trent.
Well, and he struggled, and there's a reason why Michael Vick is in the game. He was under pressure all day. He never was able to get comfortable in the pocket. You can see the number of hits he's taking. He does try and press the ball up the field to Salas, and Flowers is in the way to get the interception. Right now, Geno's sitting over there on the sideline. You know, the offense still only has 62 yards. Trying to get something going here with Vick.
That's not going anywhere, and it's up against a fired-up Charger defense. Ricardo Matthews, number 90. First half, Geno Smith was 4 for 12, 27 yards, and that interception.
Well, the only thing that, probably first of all, you never want to be benched. Second of all, he's probably sitting over there on the sidelines, almost like, see, it isn't all my fault. There's a lot of problems we have going on out there today, but I'm sure he has a lot of things going through his mind. Not only how this game finishes out, but what the approach the rest of the season is going to be for him and this football team.
Jets 0 for 7 on third down. That pass, diving attempt made at the 15-yard line. Jeremy Curley could not come up with it. Jets now 0 for 8 on third downs today. 9 drives all told today by the Jets. 7th punt, 2 turnovers, and just 4 first downs. Quigley, horrible punt. And it's going to bounce out of bounds, still in Jet territory, and they will spot it at about the 38-yard line. Great field position for San Diego. What kind of a day has it been around the National Football League today? Interesting as always. The Dallas Cowboys take the Battle of Texas and move to 4-1 with a win over Houston. How about the Cleveland Browns? We'll see them next week. 19 unanswered points in their win. And Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts win their 3rd straight against Baltimore. 32 of 49. Andrew Luck threw the ball 49 times against that Baltimore Ravens defense. So from the Jet 38, here's Rivers. He's going to throw. And he's going to throw deep down the left sideline. Incomplete at about the 10-yard line. Pass intended for Antonio Gates, covered well by DeJuan Landry.
They tried getting Antonio Gates on a wheel route up the sideline, against Landry. Rivers does a nice job of putting that ball up there, letting Gates go up and battle for it. Landry knocking it away before he's able to haul it in. Even with the 28-point lead, they're still taking shots up the field.
25th snap upcoming for San Diego in Jets territory.
8-5-2. 390. Read hot.
Thrown. Maybe a yard. Muhammad Wilkerson in on the stop.
Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson with the stop.
You know, I'm be willing to bet even Rex Ryan is at a loss for words so far about this one, because this isn't at all what he expected.
Well, in his post-game press conference, I'm sure will be somewhat enlightening, because I'm not sure what he's going to have to say.
That's Johnny Troutman limping off the field, by the way, the right guard for San Diego.
Well, Troutman had been banged up already. There was, Chris Watt had been in there playing for him, and they put him back in there, and then he gets rolled up again on that pile, on that tackle.
Another one across the middle, and it's complete, and that's Antonio Gates for a first down. Is there a philosophy in football, just keep doing it until they show you that they can stop it?
Well, in that personnel group, you're getting Gates one-on-one with Antonio Allen, and they've had success with Allen, or they've had success against Allen. You know, the 2 touchdown catches that Gates has, but this time just clearing out that triple, 3 receivers to the left side. They clear everybody out, just run Gates on a drag across the middle, and too big of a cushion for Allen on 3rd down to give him that completion.
Chargers operating with a whole new right side. Johnny Troutman is out. DJ Fluker left the game with an injury earlier. Willie Smith is now at left guard, and Chris Watt at left tackle.
390.
Oliver in the backfield.
Read hot.
Oliver up the middle and brought to a stop at about the 23-yard line. How's this passing combination working out, Trent?
Well, not only today, but obviously the long history these two have together. And he knows where his outlet is. Get those underneath drag routes, gets isolated one-on-one. And of course, when you get to the red zone, the amazing thing is Rex Ryan talked to us about double teaming Gates in the red zone, and they haven't done that today.
We have come to the end of the 3rd quarter, 28-0 Chargers. We're back after this message and a word from your local station. Hey, tomorrow, see why critics are calling the new hit drama Scorpion brainy fun. Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS as we begin the 4th quarter. Along with our producer Bob Monsbach, our director Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Evan Washburn, and our CBS Sports crew in San Diego, where it's been all Chargers as we begin the 4th. Malcolm Floyd has an issue with a calf, and he is out of the game. And this is Oliver. Brandon Oliver, 15 carries, 100 yards on the day. Make it 104 now. We have not seen DJ Fluker since he went to the sideline with an ankle injury. His return is questionable, as is Floyd's. 3rd and 4. Another red zone trip for Rivers and the Chargers. Rivers got rid of it. Oliver shakes a tackle and is down at about the 16-yard line. So 4 previous red zone visits by the Chargers resulted in 4 touchdowns. And here, with 4th and 2, Nick Novak will come on.
When you can see the amount of time that Rivers had to go through his progression, he comes out, he's looking to that bunch group side over to the right, trying to get up the field to get the first down, and then he gets over to his outlet, just not able to pick up the first down.
Nick Novak has made 27 consecutive field goals, this one from 34 yards out. Make it 28 straight. One shy of the San Diego record held by John Carney. It's 31-0 Chargers. Novak's 34-yard field goal caps Just a 22-yard drive, 31-0, San Diego. Trent, I'm thinking that if things don't turn around in a hurry here with Michael Vick at quarterback, it wouldn't surprise me to see Rex Ryan name Geno Smith his starter next week.
Well, because it hasn't been the spark that they were hoping to get for this offense, or at least not up until this point. So if it does continue, if this does continue, the offense continues the way that it is going, it'd be very easy for Rex to go back to Geno Smith and say, listen, we have a lot of things we need to correct on the offensive side of the ball, and I was just trying to get a spark with Michael. It didn't work out. We've got to correct it. They've got to get some guys back healthy on the offensive side of the ball as well. But the game plan that the Chargers had today, both offensively and defensively, has been outstanding.
That was Geno Smith talking to Eric Decker, who was inactive today. Salim Hakeem will run it out of the end zone. Breaking it to the near side, and is out of bounds across the 20-yard line.
3 yards deep in the end zone, returns the kickoff.
Well, they had to face Aaron Rodgers in week 2, Jay Cutler in week 3, Matthew Stafford last week, and Phillip Rivers today. And it doesn't get any easier next week as the Jets go home to host Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and then they follow that up at New England against Tom Brady. So
I'm going to guess
it's been a tough stretch.
I'm going to guess a not real happy Tom Brady. That's just my guess.
Well, that's why I can't wait to see tonight's game, to see how they respond after that Monday night loss to Kansas City, now getting a chance to face Cincinnati.
You and I and probably millions of people across the country laughed about it. Was Bill Belichick's reaction just priceless when he was asked after the game last week if he was going to evaluate the quarterback position?
Did you really expect a much different answer from him other than that? You know, it was yes, typical Bill Belichick response.
But can you blame him?
No,
of course not. Chris Johnson in the backfield. Vick with time over the middle. And Jeremy Curley couldn't hold on.
Pass is incomplete. Headed for Jeremy Curley.
Michael Vick still has that powerful throwing arm, doesn't he?
He sure does. With that left-handed whip, he definitely can whip the ball in there. And that ball was a little bit high, but that's a catch that Curley has to make. As I said just a few seconds ago, there's a number of areas that they need to improve. There have been some drops, even coming into this week. There have been some drops in previous weeks on some of Geno's throws.
The Jets 0 for 8 on third down today. Vick make it 0 for 9. Marcus Gilchrist
with pressure on the quarterback.
In on the quarterback, and now a penalty flag is dropped back at the 8-yard line.
Intentional grounding. Offense. Number 1. Ball did not make it back to the line of scrimmage, and there was no one in the area. That's a spot foul. Loss of down. It's 4th down.
I'm sure just when the Jets think that things can't get any worse, they do.
Well, I disagree on on one of the things here. One of the points that was just made. Yes, the ball doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage, so that is intentional grounding, but he's outside the pocket, so it doesn't matter if there's a receiver in the area or not. It's just the fact that the ball didn't get back to the line of scrimmage.
Back for the Chargers.
Trent Green starring in The Quarterback Defender.
That's right.
Keenan Allen up near midfield as Ryan Quigley will kick this one out of his own end zone.
Well, that rule came into play late in my career, so believe me, I understood that rule. Get outside the pocket. And,
are you saying it didn't come into play early enough?
No, it did not. It did not come in early.
Good kick by Quigley. Allen drifting back inside his own 35-yard line. And will be down at about the 43. 12-17 to play. 4th quarter. All Chargers. Now, a reminder, Thursday, your football week starts right here with the Colts and the Texans showdown. It's another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network. This is Sean Drone across the 45 to the 47. During that break, Trent, you and I were talking that you really can't say the offense is at fault, the defense is, but this has been a total team effort as far as the disaster here in San Diego for New York.
Well, it has in all phases of the game. You can talk about the media and Geno Smith and what he's gone through, but neither Michael Vick's come in and 7 yards, 1 of 8. He's been under constant pressure. There have been drops. It's just been a complete meltdown in all phases of the game. And on the reverse of things is the San Diego Chargers and how well Phillip Rivers has played, how good of a job they've done with the run game, and I would anticipate this is Phillip Rivers' last drive of the game.
This is Drone just across the midfield stripe. And of course, Geno Smith, in addition to the lack of quality play on the field, added to that with the incident with the fan post-game last week, for which he was fined by the NFL.
And that's all part of the growing and the maturing of being a quarterback in the National Football League. There's a lot of pressure, and it's a privilege to be one of 32 starters, and he recognizes that. He understands that. We had a chance to talk to him about that and just learning from it, understanding the pressures that come with playing the position and how you have to handle those different pressures.
Especially under the bright lights of New York. Oliver with a first down to the Jet 46-yard line.
First down, Chargers. David Harris.
And we have a player down on the field, and that is David Harris, number 52. So they'll look at him. We'll take a timeout. 10:36 to play. This is the NFL on CBS. Right there on the bench, David Harris went to the bench, talking a little bit about his shoulder. Nick Bellore has replaced him. On first down, this is Oliver. Let's go back and see what happened to David Harris.
Well, it's going to be a case of friendly fire. David Harris gets hit by his own teammate, Calvin Pryor, when he comes up on the hit. He's talking about his shoulder. You can see there it's clearly going to be his left shoulder as he's now heading to the locker room.
David Harris, who led this Jets team last season with 149 tackles and came in as a co-leader in that department with Demario Davis today. 2nd and 7. And boy, the injury list just continues to grow on both sides of the field. Oliver stacked up at the 40-yard line. Leger Douzable leading the charge. This is what happened to the Jets today. Sheldon Richardson, Damon Harrison. Darren Wall's gone with a knee. And now David Harris. And now another injured player down on the field. And if that is Doug Legursky, as we suspect, the Chargers running short of centers. How's your snapping capabilities, Trent?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 2015 Acura TLX. It's that kind of thrill. And by Fidelity Investments. Tap into the full power of your Fidelity Green Line.
Part of the Miramar Air Show taking place here in San Diego this weekend, and we're told about 500,000 people came to town to watch. Meanwhile, still on the field is Doug Legursky, and he is the third center that Phillip Rivers has had this season. It's early in the year.
Well, and he was signed after week 1 because of the injury to Hardwick. And now they bring the card out on the field, and you hate to speculate what it is, but it's never good when they bring the card out on the field. Here's the center right here.
And got caught up in the traffic there. And still has not gotten up, and now being helped up and onto the cart. And during the timeout, Philip Rivers was taking snaps from Chris Watt, who is a rookie out of Notre Dame. There's Nick Hardwick, who was injured in game 1. He was replaced by Rich Ornberger, who's missed the last 2 weeks with a bad back.
He clearly didn't want to be on TV, so he walked away in typical lineman fashion.
So he gets a hand as he goes off. Meanwhile, Sheldon Richardson is back on the field for the New York Jets.
Well, you mentioned Chris Watt moving over to center. He's already played about half of this game at right guard, rotating in there with Johnny Troutman, who Troutman's back in there, who just went out with an ankle injury himself. So he's now back in there. Troutman is, and Watt moves over to center.
Now, there has been an issue here in San Diego about fumbled snaps.
So you had to go and say it. You had to bring it up, right?
And Mike McCoy didn't think it was very funny, nor did he feel there was an excuse for it.
Well, even though it's the 5th game and they're on their 4th center, he didn't want to hear anything about excuses on quarterback center exchange.
On 3rd and 5, Rivers going to go deep down the far sideline. Incomplete. Inside the 10-yard line, intended for Keenan Allen and covered by D. Milliner.
Keenan Allen, the intended receiver. D. Milliner on the coverage.
Milliner's got good position on the play, but Keenan Allen does a nice job of trying to push Milliner by, come underneath, and make that one-handed catch. Not able to bring it in as he goes to the ground.
5 yards to go.
Walter Powell standing at his own 10-yard line for the upcoming kick from Mike Cyphers. And he will let this one float. And rolls into the end zone for the touchback. Chargers made the right decision on that.
He tried to. He thought he was going to let it. He thought it would just bounce out of the end zone or bounce out of bounds, and that's about as straight a bounce as you can get.
By the way, how did you like playing against these Chargers? Trent Green tied an NFL record connecting for a 99-yard touchdown pass against the Chargers. Do you remember who you threw that to?
Mark Bo-Richter.
There you go.
Mark Bo-Richter, 99 yards. Yeah, we were down on the 1-yard line. We went to a jumbo personnel group. We were just trying to get some separation. Obviously, with the running game, we had San Diego was stacking it, trying to
look at the picture. Give me a break.
How about that? You like the turtleneck? The turtleneck look in the picture.
Chris Ivory round the left side with running room and out of bounds.
But you know how you get a 99-yarder is you get the defense up on the line of scrimmage anticipating run, and then you're able to sneak somebody behind, and then having Tony Gonzalez underneath to draw that attention works out well.
I mean, is this a toothpaste commercial? Good grief.
Man, look how young that guy is. How about that?
More touchdowns against San Diego than anybody else you played against.
You know, that may have had something to do with the fact they drafted me, but they were also the first ones to cut me too. So.
Vic tried to squeeze it between defenders to Jeff Cumberland. It's incomplete. Now the Jets flirting with being shut out here. There has not been a shutout in the National Football League this season.
Well, and they're flirting with the fact that they're not going to they haven't crossed the 50-yard line yet today. They haven't converted a 3rd down yet today. So there's a lot of things they're trying to get accomplished here before this game wraps up.
They have 76 total yards. That's embarrassing. On 2nd and 10, this is Ivory. And Ivory spins his way across the 35 to about the 37. Let's check in with Evan downstairs. Evan.
Well, guys, as you would imagine, the injury to Doug Legursky looked pretty severe. It was his left knee. Still waiting official word from the Chargers personnel, but the sense from the sideline is that it's a pretty serious injury to that knee. And it looks like Kellen Clemens, he's warming up on the sideline. I think Trent could be right that Philip Rivers' day could be done.
All right, Evan, thank you. So the injuries continue to pile up, and the San Diego Chargers continue to thrive despite them. 3rd and 3. Going to go deep. Far sideline. Incomplete. Penalty marker is down. T.J. Graham covered by Richard Marshall.
T.J. Graham, the intended receiver.
I think Michael Vick threw that one about 50, 55 yards in the air with ease.
He had a little frustration on that.
Pass interference. Defense, number 31. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
And with 7:35 remaining in the fourth quarter, the Jets are going to get a snap in San Diego territory for the first time today.
Well, what Richard Marshall is doing is he's using that offhand and making contact with the receiver as T.J. Graham's running down the field.
Vick. Incomplete. A little too hot to handle for Curley. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Headed for Jeremy Curley. Jerry Johnson defending for the Chargers.
So Vick now 1 out of 10 on the day. Geno Smith standing next to his coach, Rex Ryan. You wonder, who does Rex name to start next week against Denver?
Well, I think the door's been open for him to put Geno Smith back in, if that's what he chooses to do, because as you just mentioned, this is their first snaps on this side of the field, and Michael Vick's a good player, but just like Geno Smith, you have to have some help around you, and right now that help isn't being provided.
3rd and 4.
First 1 and 3 start of Rex Ryan's coaching career. And he's still, talking to him, he has a lot of faith in this team. This has just been a surprising day all the way around, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I got the same sense from him during our meeting as well, that he felt really good about the talent that's on this team. They expected to go in and win this football game today. There were high expectations coming in on what they would be able to get accomplished on both sides of the football.
No, I don't see, although, of course, there are all kinds of people out there who will raise some flags. I don't see Rex Ryan's job in jeopardy at this point.
I don't either. And
we're talking mid-season.
Right, and the fact that Woody Johnson came out and he said, you know, I'm not making a coaching change during the season. So I think this is Rex's team for the entire season, and that, you know, knowing the attitude and the approach he has on things, they will get things turned around. It's a matter of getting some bodies back healthy and obviously performing better on the field.
But it does look like a confused Rex Ryan down there.
It will be a very tough week for him. That's without a doubt. The pressure that he's going to feel from the media and from the fans, and you know, what are they going to do at the quarterback position, but also what are they doing at some of the other areas of concern as well.
Donald Butler just pulling himself off the turf, number 56. Boy, this is becoming a war of attrition out there. Who's going to be around to finish the game?
Well, we did have a chance to talk to the Jets also about the fact that, you know, they have over $20 million in cap space, and we're going to take a look at the injury right here, but they have over $20 million in cap space, but you have to understand the number of young players that they have on their roster that are due or coming up for contracts, and so they're trying to put themselves into position where they can re-sign some of their young talent that they want to keep around, and you can't do that if you run yourself out of cap space.
This has not been a day on which you can base negotiations if you're one of those young players, though. Very little is going right for the Jets today.
This would be a team-friendly negotiating time right now.
First down. Vick going to try to run it, break it to the near side, to the 10, to the 5, and out of bounds. 14th season, and still fairly quick on his feet.
Well, he may be 34 years old, but he can outrun all those 24-year-olds and younger that are out there on the field. It's, you know, you look at the angle that they have, and he's still able to burst away from them. There's a reason why he's the leading rusher quarterback in NFL history.
First and goal. Whistles. Looks like a false start.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
He's had his number called earlier today. Willie Colon.
Penalty moves the ball to the 11. First and goal.
And there is Marty Morningweg, the offensive coordinator for the Jets. By the way, the offensive coordinator for San Diego, Frank Wright, is a former Jets quarterback. Ivory can't find running room on this side and spun down at the 13-yard line by Marshall.
Brought down by Richard Marshall.
Clock continues to move. 5:25 to play here in the fourth.
And Chris Ivory tries to bounce this to the outside, and Richard Marshall comes upfield and keeps outside contained and doesn't give him anywhere to go as Ivory tries cutting back inside where the flow of the defense is coming from.
This has been a 41-yard drive by the Jets. On their first 10 drives of the game, they managed just 65 yards. Vick throwing, end zone, incomplete. Behind Jeff Cumberland. This is the kind of day it's been for Michael Vick, right?
Well, we talked about the beating that Geno Smith took in the first half and some of the problems he had with accuracy up the field. Michael Vick, unfortunately, was plagued by the same issues, being under constant pressure and not being able to get comfortable and sit in a pocket and go through progressions. Took a number of big hits, and that's what's led to the score we have right now.
3rd and goal. From the 12. Vick. Rolling, plenty of time, and throws end zone, touchdown! Found Greg Salas at the back of the end zone for the touchdown, and there's a penalty marker down. How close did he get to the line of scrimmage?
Well, that's what we're trying to look at here. He may have gone past the line and then went backwards.
Illegal forward pass. Offense, number 1, threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. It's 5 yards from the spot of the foul. Loss of down. It'll be 4th down.
Well, we're going to see the line of scrimmage here. You're going to see is all the way down about the 12, 13-yard line there. And as he scrambles it, it appears that he ends up crossing the line of scrimmage, but as he throws, he may have bounced back, which still makes it an illegal play.
Yep, he's right along that line.
You can see over on the side there, the down marker, the 3rd down marker, he was definitely past that marker.
So 4th and goal. As the Jets try to crack the scoreboard for the first time today. Charger fans want that shutout. Vick throwing this side, complete. That's Cumberland, and Cumberland down at about the 10-yard line. And the ball will go over on downs. Trent, I want to ask you how tough it is for Mike Vick or for any quarterback to come into a game after the starter has gotten most, if not all, of the snaps in practice that week.
Well, and that's the tough part of being a backup quarterback is you're not going to get the reps during the week, and you can see Michael Vick taking another big shot. Chargers defensively have been putting hits, whether it be Geno Smith or Michael Vick, they've been putting hits on. But back to your question is as the backup quarterback, the only reps you're really getting are running the service team or the scout team and maybe some additional work you'll take after practice. So from a timing standpoint, it's hard to really be on the same page just because you're not getting those reps.
All right, let me ask you what Mike McCoy is thinking with Phillip Rivers out there at quarterback now.
Hey, go hard.
I disagree with this. I said the statement before the last drive that Kellen Clemens should be going in, unless they want to give him a standing ovation. You know, let him go in for a snap, hand the ball off, and then they'll bring Clemens in so Phillip can get a round of applause. Oh, and look at this.
You quarterbacks are used to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Rivers out, Clemens on.
And he should get a good response. What a tremendous day. 20 and 28, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's got his team in first place in the AFC West. playing at a tremendously high level right now.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 from the 13.
And Sheldon Richardson of the Jets is down again and is now up and limping once more. So he came back, gave it another shot. Meanwhile, Phillip Rivers with 71.4% completions today. He just...
We came into the game at what, like 70.9 or something? So he improved his efficiency.
70.1. So he got better.
Well, let's take a look ahead here at the Chargers' upcoming schedule. You can see the next 3 games are all against division opponents. 2 of them on the road, but a big matchup with the Chiefs here at home in a couple weeks.
And then travel to Denver. And Denver just eliminated today the Arizona Cardinals. The ranks of the unbeaten. That just leaves Cincinnati, which plays tonight against New England. Second hit, Kellen Clement. His first action of the season. And he is spun down at the 10-yard line. Phillip Rivers has had himself another outstanding day.
Well, you can see this is a different type of highlight than what we just got through watching with the Jet quarterbacks. He's pretty clean on all of his throws. Not a whole lot of pressure. He's able to stand there and make throws, which is unusual for a Jet defense. So there were a couple sacks of him today, but for the most part, Phillip Rivers was able to stand in there, make his reads. They did enough quick throws to get the ball out of his hands on time. But then when they needed to take shots up the field, he was extremely accurate. And you know, the play that comes to mind with me is the contested throw up the field where Malcolm Floyd climbed the ladder and was able to get that contested ball.
I think you're doing something when you come in with a 70.1 completion percentage and you raise your number.
He raised it.
Meanwhile, the New York Jets staring down the barrel of a shutout. And the last time that happened was in the 2012 season. Courtesy of the 49ers. They lost at 34-0.
It's a long flight home. Long flight home for the Jets. So think about it. Players, staff, personnel.
It's a long flight anyway.
It's a lot more fun, though, with the win. A lot more fun.
Walter Powell is deep for the kick.
You can't land fast enough after a day like today.
Oh, what a kick. By Cypress. Powell all the way back to his 25. He tripped up and goes down. Terrific play by Sheji Ajirotutu.
With the tackle.
That's Sheldon Richardson limping off into the locker room. And then number 5, Mike Cypress, got hit on that last play. But the upcoming schedule, boy, Phillip Rivers had himself a day against a respected defense. That's what makes it amazing. And then Peyton Manning down the line, and so is Tom Brady. Vic gives to Chris Johnson, and Chris Johnson down at about the 28-yard line. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in San Diego.
This is a 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
Hey, those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, our game between the Jets and the Chargers, along with Trent Green and Evan Washburn. I'm Greg Gumbel. It's 31-0 San Diego. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regularly scheduled time. 2nd and 6 for the Jets. Vic to throw. Curley. And that looks to be enough for a first down at the 35. But boy, what a day Brandon Oliver has had for the San Diego Chargers, huh, Trent?
Unknown player getting an opportunity because of injuries, coming into a game that, the Jets, with their defense, their reputation of stopping the run. Brandon Oliver, 19 carries, 114 yards rushing with that touchdown. Then, of course, catching the ball, too, here on the touchdown reception. With the injuries at running back with Donald Brown, with Ryan Matthews, I mentioned earlier, he reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. When Darren Sproles started his career,
It's a 30-second timeout.
When Darren Sproles started his career here in San Diego, he reminds me a lot of him, and the numbers he put up today and his ability to create space and find lanes to run the football, those comparisons won't end.
Yeah. Willie Colon just left the game. He dinged up a little bit. And as you said, it's going to be a long ride home for the New York Jets, and all smiles on the San Diego side of the field. Geno Smith, we talked to him about that incident with the fan after the game, as apologetic as he was immediately afterwards and all week long. There's that Eric Weddle beard. Pass to the sideline is complete to Curley and out of bounds.
Pass complete to Jeremy Curley.
The beard.
First out of bounds by Chris Davis.
San Diego giving them the win today, 4-1.
First down, Jets.
Denver a winner today, moves them to 3-1 on the year.
Kansas City just they just showed the final up on the board. Kansas City lost to San Francisco up the road.
Keep it tight.
And that's Chase Amaro, the rookie tight end. Meanwhile, the AFC East, Miami with the bye after the game in London. Buffalo a winner today, New England playing tonight, and the Jets dropping to 1-4. I'm going to ask Suzanne Smith, our director, if we can get another shot of Eric Weddle's beard, because just one quick glance just doesn't do it justice. It just doesn't. And Eric is so proud of it too.
You have to think he's hiding something in there.
Out to this side, and that is complete to Amaro. And Amaro, tough to bring down, took 3 Chargers to do it.
Richard Marshall.
I said, do you comb it? Do you brush it? He said, sometimes.
I don't even know how that's comfortable with the chin strap.
Second and 7. Number 36.
You know, you look at that, and the first thing you think of is Gillette on strike. Second and 7. Vick gonna go for it all. Far sideline. Incomplete.
Pass is incomplete. Intended for Greg Sellis.
10 seconds to play.
Steve Williams defending. Brings up
I think Rex might be thinking about who could stand in for that post-game news conference for him.
Well, I'm sure there's some of those thoughts going through his mind. You start thinking about what the questions are going to be, what your answers are going to be, how you're going to address your team. More importantly, how he's going to address the team in the locker room when they get in there after this game.
For Chris Johnson. And the clock will continue to run and run out on the New York Jets. The first shutout in the National Football League this season. And the San Diego Chargers administer one, 31-0 to the New York Jets. That's our final score. San Diego 31 and the Jets nothing. Coming up next, it's 60 Minutes, followed by Madam Secretary, The Good Wife, and CSI. For Trent Green and Evan Washburn and our entire CBS Sports crew here in San Diego, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Qualcomm Stadium. Thanks for joining us, everyone. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.